everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the eufy by Anker WetVac W31. This is a wet and dry cordless vacuum cleaner. I did receive this sample directly from eufy, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Take a look at the retail box and packaging right here. 5-in-1 design, some additional features along the bottom. Same can be said on this side, and on the back side you can learn more about the wet dry vac. The other side shows you the types of messes it's going to be able to handle for you with multi-surface cleaning support. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and look at the contents. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature featuring a quick start guide, an owner's manual, and we have a customer service and contact card if you ever have any questions and need to reach out to them directly. We have lots of accessories here, extra filter, extra brush roller, different style versus the one that's already installed. We have a cleaning tool here with a nice little tiny blade to detangle. We have some cleaning solution. This is hard floor cleaner, 280 milliliters. We have the handle for our wet dry vac, as well as our charging base right here with integrated power cord and cable. Lastly, we have the unit itself. Let's go ahead, let's look at this in more detail. Here's the W31 up close. You'll notice front and center we have the eufy logo and branding, our clean water tank up at the top, our dirty water tank down below. Just pull to remove the clean water tank, fill it up right there, and then just press the cap shut. Install it back in. You also notice on the back side we have our max fill line for water. Then you're going to add your solution right there. And again, it'll just snap right back in. Dirty water tank, very similar. We have our washable filter here. You'll notice on this side we have our max fill line for dirty water. That's on both sides, clearly labeled for us. There's our little float system so it knows when it's full. Take a look what it looks like without the dirty water tank installed. Then it snaps right in. Moving further down, we have our main brush that's already installed. You'll notice we have our eufy logo and branding here. We can easily remove that cover to swap out the brush, depending on if we're doing hard floor surfaces or carpets. Let's peek at it from the very bottom. Looks nice. Couple extra wheels right there, and then our two main drive wheels. Charging contacts. Give you that side profile of the unit. Let's flip it around to the back side right here. Additional product info for you. And then here's a look at the other side profile. You may notice too, we have our pedal indicator on both sides, so you can put your foot there to easily pull the unit back to start using it. And then up at the top, we have the portion where our handle is going to be installed, as well as our nice display right there for you. Now let's go ahead, let's get everything set up. Set up simple and straightforward. For the first time, you'll have to snap in the handle like we've done here. Then you're ready to place it on the charger. Make sure the charger is plugged in. Once it's fully charged, go ahead, fill up the clean water tank, and you can swap brushes if you want, depending on the brush roller that you want to use. But that's it. Now you're ready to start cleaning. Before we start our clean, I wanted to show you the control buttons that we have. So front and center, our power button, our high and low settings. Then we have our trigger right here with the gold color accent. And then we have our volume button and our self-cleaning button right there on the inside. Now it's time to swap brushes so we can clean on the carpet. I thought you'd like to see how this one looks after our first cleanup and test right there. We have a lot of Cheerio residue all throughout the inside, but we haven't even done self-cleaning yet. So here's a look at our results right here. As I was expecting, it did an amazing, incredible job vacuuming up all of the test hair here. There is no hair to be found on the carpet, and that usually gets really stuck here, so RoboVacs have trouble with them. Cordless vacs typically do a good job, which is basically what this unit is, kind of a 2-in-1 device. The middle, with all of our Cheerios, no crumbs left either. Fantastic job. It seems to really not have any trouble picking up large objects. And then lastly, feeling for sand residue. I actually don't feel any sand residue. You may notice I can see a little bit of discoloration from the sand, but we actually have that on this side of the rug too from previous tests. Most cordless vacs can't get it any better than what we're seeing right here for this particular rug. So it definitely did above average in this cleaning test on our carpet right here. And now looking into the brush roller, you'll notice all of that hair is stuck and tangled right here, but that's how it was able to do such a good job. All these bristles allow it to pick up the hair. So if you have a lot of pet hair, human hair, make sure when you're using this brush roller that you're always maintaining, cleaning, and detangling it. Also, you'll notice now on the inside we have some sand stuck right there. Again, we haven't even done self-cleaning yet. So now let's go ahead, let's put the other brush roller back on and initiate the self-clean. So we just finished our first clean and test. Let's look at the results right here. So we have our dirty water tank. So far, so good. This just lifts away, and boy, oh boy, is that disgusting. All of our test hair is in there with our cereal chunks, excuse me. Gross. And then we have our dirty water. Let's pour that out here. But there you go, you get the idea. And then we have our sand at the very bottom there. So that's going to be, you know, settling there. We got to rinse it out separately. But you get a feel for the type of contents you're able to clean up with this. Here's the filter too that we can clean. But yeah, so far so good. It covers a wide variety and range of objects, from hair in here to our thicker Cheerios, as well as to the dirty water and liquids like the spilled milk that we had. Now let's see how the brush roller and the rest of the unit looks. So this is what the unit looks like after self-cleaning. You'll notice we still have some debris up in the shield right here that if we want to, we can just wipe out or rinse out when we're cleaning everything else. Brush roller looks really good, but you'll notice on the inside again, we still have some debris right there, but not as bad as it looked before we did self-cleaning. But you get the idea of how everything's going to look. The brush itself going to be near spotless, a little bit right there, but we still have some collecting along the sides and the edges. Now let's dive into the performance. Typically, we compare this within the own brand's product lineups as well as the average tested across the board of every wet dry vac that's made it here into the studio. In this case, we only have one Anker eufy wet dry vac, so we'll just be comparing it with the average of all the units we've tested. First up, we're looking at rated power. This is measured in watts. The W31 has 250 watts of rated power. The average is 224, so it's great to see we're above average, because typically the higher the rated power, the more powerful the unit's going to be. Next, in regards to decibels, the W31 is measured at 72 decibels, so it's slightly quieter than all tested at 75.2 decibels, but I'd argue this is so close, it's not going to be noticeably louder or quieter. Battery capacity, I would argue we're in the average of a 35-minute unit that's going to have typically around 4,000 milliamp hours. All tested, we're above average of only 3,444 milliamp hours. Clean water tank is an important metric for me because it means you're not refilling as often. The W31 has a 600 milliliter clean water tank. That is below average of all tested, coming in at 789 milliliters. The higher the better, that equals less refilling. Dirty water tank doesn't matter as much to me because after every clean, whether you clean for 1 minute or 35 minutes, you're gonna have to empty the dirty water tank. The only goal here is to be able to get through a full clean in your house without having to stop and empty the dirty water before you finish. So in this case, 550 milliliters should be good enough for you, but it is slightly below average of 616. Now let's talk about cost. So with this particular unit, we're actually above average in regards to price point. Maybe you'll get lucky, you'll find a sale, promo, discount, things like that. For me personally though, at this cost, you're coming into the price point of the top of the line name brands like Tyneco and Dreamy, who make fantastic wet dry vacuums. So for me, I'm gonna be led to go in a different direction at the current price point versus sticking with this one. But there's a couple things I'll cover in my final thoughts to dive in a little bit more of why that's the case. I have so many thoughts to share with you guys in regards to this eufy wet vac. I really want to like it, but unfortunately at its current price point, it's just too expensive. Also, I want to point out that the user experience just felt clunky to me, and I didn't really like having to hold down the handle. Part of me thinks it's cool to like depress liquid when you want it, but it doesn't do a good job saturating the brush evenly, so it seemed very streaky just towards the center of the brush. You would almost be better off like initiating a self-clean and then using it so the brush is like more thoroughly wet. So it just felt like a very uneven cleaning experience. Now, with that being said, I was impressed with what it was able to actually pick up. It did way better picking up contents than I thought it would, especially some of those larger chunks like Cheerios. Some of the other wet dry vacs out there just don't do as good of a job. So if you have a lot of big debris on the floor, you might be swayed toward this unit, or I would argue if you are cleaning carpets a lot. So if you really need that cordless vacuum part of this, then you might appreciate this one, but you do still have to swap out the rollers, but that roller does a fantastic job with hair. It will at least pick it up. Nonetheless, inside the roller there, you will have to clean it if it gets tangled, but it does do a good job picking up hair on carpet. So if you have a lot of crumbs on hard floors and surfaces, this would be probably better for you. Or if you have a lot of hair you're trying to vacuum up on a carpet, but you still want some wet functionality for your hard floors and surfaces, that's where this unit's going to excel. But at its current price point, you're much better off with like a Tyneco S3, Tyneco S5, any of the Dreamy like the Dreamy H11. Typically those units are going to cost less than this one and perform better and just give you a much more enjoyable experience. I would probably equate it to like driving a pickup truck, nothing wrong with that, versus driving a Ferrari. So this would be more of like the utility pickup truck, where some of the other brands out there that somehow even cost less give you more of that sports car refined experience for you clean. So for this one, just keep in mind, it's going to be just a clunky experience using it if you're familiar with any other wet dry vacs. But if the price is right, there's always a time to buy a wet dry vac like our eufy WetVac W31.